Hey everybody, and welcome to the Gravity Ghost episode of PAX at Home. PAX at Home, of course, being the series where I aim to give you the booth experience of being at PAX Prime 2013 for some of the games I'm most looking forward to seeing there, without actually shelling out, hundreds and thousands of dollars potentially on accommodations and travel, plus, your time to be there. But in any case, here we are looking at Gravity Ghost. This is a game made by Ivy Games that is going to be in the Indie Megabooth this year. And why don't we just get started talking about it? I'm going to start with the kind of tutorial constellation here, which will just give you a feel for what the heck is going on. This is a puzzle game. It's also a platformer. I don't know if I feel comfortable calling it a puzzle platformer, but I'm not too ornery or much of a stickler for when it comes to like genre monikers or anything like that. So, it is what it is. Basically what you were doing here is kind of Super Mario Galaxy-ing yourself around these planets in order to collect stars. Collecting the stars opens up the door, and then you move on to the next level. Obviously, these are some of the earliest levels in the game that you're going to be seeing, but I'll try to move on to some later ones because basically everything is open to me right off the top here in this build. So we might as well show off some of the stuff that happens in the later game. So one thing I want to point out here, well, two things I want to point out before we move on and start talking more about, the progression in the game itself, is it kind of reminds me of Luftrausers, and I'm hoping this goes up after the Luftrausers video so you can understand what I'm talking about, in the same sense where movement is just like incredibly enjoyable. The same way in Luftrausers how it was like very exhilarating to put yourself into like a controlled stall and then recover it at the last minute. Gravity Ghost has a kind of, it's not exhilarating necessarily, but a very like zen kind of feel to the physics and the movement in the game. You can just orbit around as much as you want. You can control yourself in the air. At least you can influence the direction that you move. One of the arrow keys will move you counterclockwise, one will move you clockwise. But apart from that, it's just really, really satisfying and kind of downright relaxing to just kind of float around these planets here. Additionally, soundtrack is A, bumpin', totally excellent, and B, not surprising that it is because it's done by Ben Prunty, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, who more astute viewers may remember as the composer for the music in FTL. So if you're a big fan of that, a lot of similar stuff happening here musically, and it's equally as fantastic in my experience so far. So we might as well do one more easy level here, and then we will back it up to the kind of constellation world select screen where we will be able to get into some more interesting, making it sound like this is not interesting is a little bit derisive, but some more complicated stuff, shall we say. And keep in mind, these Mario Galaxy references, they're going to come fast and furious. Kirk Hamilton of Kotaku covered this game at E3 this year. He called it the little Super Mario Galaxy that could, or the indie Super Mario Galaxy that could. I think it's an apt comparison, It's kind of a novel way to move around an environment is by, using the orbit of planets to slingshot you, and it's a concept that's kind of difficult to get a handle on when it comes to moving, but also weirdly intuitive. Like, when you first try, it doesn't take you as long as you might expect to figure out how to actually wrap yourself around these worlds here. It's surprisingly easy to move around, despite the fact that initially, if I try to articulate why I'm doing the moves that I do, it's very difficult to do so. Like, I'm just gonna, jump up here and then turn counterclockwise and use the momentum from this planet to kind of slingshot me around. Oh, I've botched it miserably here. But in practice, it's actually really, really easy. And I can't stress enough that the control of the game and just the basic movement is one of the strengths, or one of the strongest points of the game so far, in my experience. I should also point out Gravity Ghost, available for pre-order via the Humble Store as of the time that this video goes live, for sure. But in any case, let's go back to our standard constellation here, or our World Select screen. Keep in mind, of course, that this stuff is work in progress, so I don't know if this is something that is subject to change. But in any case, why don't we go to our second constellation, which unlocked with 5 stars received. So we are going to, I thought that it was more open than there actually was. We're going to have to beat some levels here in order to get enough stars to go into the subsequent worlds. But in any case, we're going to load into our second constellation here. And lest you think that this is entirely just a Zen puzzler where, kind of your only goal is to exist, man, you actually do get some more complicated mechanics that show up a little bit later. And there are some devilish puzzles that I've encountered in the first probably half hour that I spent with the game, which unfortunately I guess was not saved in this press build, which may be my bad. But the other mechanic here that I haven't talked about yet is kind of your hair. So there's a concept and a narrative to the game that I don't fully understand. We're basically playing as this lady, and the game starts with her and her fox companion, not Michael A.L. Fox, just like a literal animal fox. Oh, you can do it! Unfortunately, the physics pulled me away from those ones there. And then the fox disappears, and I think this is our quest to get that fox back, or to find him, or her, or it. And there hasn't been much more talked about. It's told very minimalistically so far. But the more of these flowers we pick up, not stars but flowers, the longer our hair gets. And I'm not sure if this is just aesthetics or if this causes, you know, if maybe if we pick up something with our hair, it actually comes to us, like we don't have to hit it directly, or if it just, you know, makes the screen look nicer or makes you feel like there's a sense of progress. In any case, let's go through this door here. As soon as you get the star, you don't need to get all the flowers, but as soon as you get the star, you open up the next level. So we're introduced to kind of our first new style of planet here. If I could actually just slingshot my way around a little bit here. These planets are the ice planets, so they make it a little bit harder to stop on, and you also get a lot of momentum. So let me stop myself for a second here. I'm going to start moving in one direction like this, and then I'm just going to take my finger off the arrow keys and continue to go for at least a little while here. I'm not sure if that will go ad infinitum, but you can use that to generate some momentum for yourself for sure. And again, slingshot yourself to further and further worlds. I'm not even going to control myself here because I want to show off that when you land on the ice planet, are we going to accidentally pick up the star? Pretty close. You can throw yourself into orbit too, whether that orbit is going to decay or not. Well, you guys know from my Kerbal Space Program videos that I don't fully understand what is going on with, you know, astrophysics. But if you just kind of like glance into an ice planet, you won't actually land on it. Most planets kind of like pull you down, but if you just glance off an ice planet, you kind of slide around a little bit and you can pretty easily bounce off. Let's do a few more levels here on the Deer constellation, and then we should be able to get to like the Wolf constellation, and there's some more interesting stuff going on there. So the levels do get more and more difficult as you go along. It is kind of, I know I mentioned like, it's because I didn't want people to pigeonhole this just by seeing it like this as like a, oh, this is like a minimalistic Zen type puzzle game, when it's really not. There are some difficult levels that I've encountered so far, but it definitely does have kind of a relaxing element to the game, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's very kind of calming to just float freely in the galaxy like this. Not the Mario Galaxy this time. Of course, you know, similarities to Super Mario Galaxy are fairly superficial. In concept, yes, but beyond conceptually, you know. I suppose we are using momentum in orbit to kind of propel ourselves around. I thought I was really going to make it that time. But, you know, there's a lot of elements that differ between the two games. Obviously, this is much simpler, and I don't mean that in a derisive way at all. So, hopefully we will decay towards that... oh, my God. Okay, let's try this again. We're spinning quite nicely here. I missed that by mere nanometers. Let's try it again. One of these days, I'll get this star. And, you know, it's also the kind of thing where I could definitely see other people being substantially better at this game than I am. Simply because, you know, the more you kind of understand how to move in an environment like this, the easier it is going to be. And kind of the cooler stuff you can do. This is a game where I could definitely see levels being beaten in style. I mean, obviously, this is like me brute forcing it. And it's not looking very elegant when I play it. But I could definitely... you know, understand that if people play this, it could look pretty beautiful, pretty artistic. And sometimes it looks like that for me, but not all the time. So now with 10 stars, we are able to get into the Wolf constellation, which we will open up. And let's look at some bouncy planets. So I've only encountered these once before, but, you know, this is just a kind of proof of concept that there are other kinds of planets in the game. So some of them are ice, some of them are bouncy, some of them are standard. There's also breakable planets, which will sometimes contain... stars or flowers that can increase the size of your hair or your trail. Let's see if I can get myself to the exit here. I'm not very good at navigating the bouncy planets, but actually that seems to have worked out pretty well. You can cheese the game a little bit. You don't actually have to land on the door planet to get through. You just kind of have to pass by. So as long as you have the momentum to get near the door, you can usually find your way through. This is going to be a tricky one, I can tell. Let's try to fall directly through. Okay, don't get pinballed too much. There we go. And then we'll just bounce our way out and come over here to the door planet, which actually worked out pretty easily. Now, one thing I'm actually not sure about, and this might be a little bit unprofessional, but I'm not sure if there's actually boss encounters in the game, because I did have a level where a boss showed up, but I don't know if there was actually a fight, because the level just ended for me, and I'm not sure if I had died or what happened there. Let's try to make our way over to the door planet here. I think if I just actually swing myself around, I should be able to get enough momentum to hit that door planet. We'll probably decay into one of the bouncy balls. No, okay. Oh, we're so close. If I had actually changed my direction there, I think we would have been okay. This should give me enough space to get into. God damn it. Okay. We'll give this another try here. You can also dash in the air. I should just do that by double tapping the arrow key. Unless maybe you have to actually beat the level that gives you the dash. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Here we go. Oh, it appears to work for me. I just need to get myself a little bit closer over there. And you know what game this reminds me of? It reminds me a lot of Night Sky, actually. I mean, obviously, in terms of like the mechanics and the concepts, there's a huge difference between something like this and Night Sky. But in terms of like the feel I got when I played the game, I know a lot of people are probably familiar with Night Sky because it was in a Humble Bundle. So hopefully you can at least find some footage of what it's all about in case you're not totally sure of what it is. But in terms of like the way that the game makes me feel when I'm playing it, it definitely has some Night Sky-ish vibes to me, where it's as much about like the audio-visual experience as it is about the actual, accomplishing of game objectives as well. It's a game that's as much about feel as it is about, progress. Our star is like down in the bottom middle on this one. And of course, we're getting pulled to like all these planets. In order to break these ice planets, or these I guess they're bubble planets, not ice planets, you have to have a certain amount of momentum. So there we go. I've got to kind of like get myself to fall down, I think. As far as I know, at least so far, I haven't really encountered a failure state. There we go. We got the star, and we're gonna. I thought we were gonna land on the door planet there. I haven't really encountered a failure state where I like go into or fall out of orbit to the extent where I'm just free floating in space. You have enough control that you can usually, if not always, pull yourself back from that. Why don't we go up against the Wolf Guardian here, and this will explain what's going on. So hold down for heavy mode. Let go to fall normally. Okay. So I am jumping and then doing heavy mode. I guess that allows us to bounce a little bit higher if we land on the planet. Forgive me, I haven't seen this level before. So we're going to try to get ourselves kind of like straight here. And then we'll do heavy mode. And then we should be able to bounce even higher. Maybe. Let's try it. I can certainly bounce faster. I think I can do this. Might have to come around like this instead first. Oh, that kind of botched it for me. Ah! There we go. We're so close. Maybe try one last slingshot here. There's more than one way to skin a cat, definitely. Oh, you got to get them all at once. Okay. There's more than one way to skin a cat, at least so far in Gravity Ghost. That's how I feel with the game. If approach A doesn't work for you right away, it might work later, but, approach B seems just as viable. So I still cannot get myself... Ah, there we go. So I can use heavy mode to make myself kind of slingshot with a little bit more momentum. I apologize for using slingshot as if it's like some kind of legitimate term, but it's the easiest way to describe, I think, what is happening here. So let's swing around here. And I will say, for those naysayers out there, it's also harder than it looks. So fall a little... Oh my god, okay, come on, you can do it! Gravity Ghost Lady. Maybe like a heavy fall this way. Oh my god, I was so close. This might be impossible for me with the skills that I have right now. One of the dangers of opening a lot of stuff up very early, I guess, is that if you have the brain of your average ape like I do, it might be a little bit difficult to finish this off. If so, though, this is probably, well, regardless if so, this is going to be where we're going to end our video for Gravity Ghost. So make sure if you're interested, go check it out on the pre-order page on the Humble Store. There will be links in the video description below to see the website as well as the social media links for the developers. Really, really interesting game. Looking forward to seeing it when it actually completely comes out. I'm interested to see how far along this full build is. Totally relaxing and a very kind of like Zen-like meditative experience, although it also obviously... Oh, I was so close! Also, obviously has some difficulty to offer as well. So this is not merely like an exploratory puzzle game. There is definitely an element of frustration, but in a good way. The same way that, a braid might frustrate you the first time you play it. In any case, though, be sure to check out those links in the video description below. I'm going to call Uncle here and give up. Gravity Ghost, if you are at the PAX Prime convention, is in the Indie Megabooth. Hope you'll check it out if you are there. As always, thanks for watching. I appreciate any support you can give the video, and I will see you next time.